There are moments in history when ordinary lives collide with destiny, when quiet souls reveal strength that leaves the world in stunned silence. It was a calm evening flight from Frankfurt to New York. The cabin lights dimmed, engines hummed, and most passengers drifted into the easy rhythm of travel. In row 10, a woman slept lightly beneath a gray blanket, her face peaceful, unreadable. Her name was Captain Elise Hartmann, retired fighter pilot of the German Air Force, though few on board would have guessed it. She had left her flying days behind, trading steel wings for silence. Years of precision, combat missions, and loss had carved restraint into her every movement. But in the cockpit that night, trouble was brewing. Midway over the Atlantic, a sudden ping shattered routine. One of the pilots felt faint, then collapsed, motionless. The co-pilot, barely 30, stared at the instruments that began to blink in warning. The captain's strained voice broke through the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, if there's any licensed pilot on board, please come forward." The cabin froze. Panic flickered through whispers. Flight attendants rushed down the aisles, scanning faces.
In row 10, the woman opened her eyes. Elise looked around. No one moved. No one answered. She sighed softly, the same sigh of duty she had once given before missions over hostile skies. Then she rose. And in that instant, the fate of 236 souls changed direction.
The cockpit door closed behind her with a click that seemed to echo forever. Inside, alarms pulsed red. Altitude warnings screamed. The young co-pilot's hands shook over the controls. The aircraft was losing stability. Elise slipped into the left seat. Her eyes moved, quick, analytical, unshaken. "Transfer control to me," she said calmly. Her voice cut through the panic like steel. She scanned the horizon, trimmed the pitch, corrected the yaw, her hands dancing over the controls as if she'd never left the sky.
For a few long seconds, gravity itself seemed to pause. Then, slowly, the shuddering steadied, the beeping softened, the plane obeyed. The crew stared, wide-eyed. Elise leaned into the mic. "This is Hartmann. Aircraft stabilized, returning to manual flight." Outside, the Atlantic stretched silent beneath her, a mirror reflecting the steady will of a soldier reborn in the sky. When they landed hours later in New York, dawn painted the tarmac gold. The passengers erupted in applause, that raw human gratitude only felt by those who've looked into fear and seen deliverance. But Elise? She simply stood, thanked the crew, and prepared to leave unnoticed. The airline's chief pilot was waiting at the gate, having heard the story through urgent radio chatter. He approached her with disbelief. "Ma'am, are you the one who took control of Flight 87? She hesitated. "Yes, but only until your man could breathe again." "Only until," he repeated softly, studying her. "Captain Hartmann, your reflexes saved a full aircraft. We'd be writing eulogies without you." She looked past him, toward the rising sun over the runway. "I didn't do it for applause. I did it because someone had to." Later, in the terminal, one of the passengers, a teenage boy who had been crying during the turbulence, ran up to her. "Ma'am," he said, "my dad said you were a real pilot, a combat one." She smiled faintly. "A long time ago." "Were you scared?" She knelt to meet his eyes. "Courage," she said, "isn't about being unafraid. It's about being ready when the world stops looking for heroes." The boy nodded, his fear replaced by quiet awe. And so, amidst the chatter and flashing cameras, Elise disappeared into the crowd, leaving behind not pride,
but a lesson written in calmness under fire. That skill, born of discipline, humbles arrogance, even the arrogance of chaos itself.
Weeks later, aviation circles whispered her name again. Not in official reports, she refused recognition, but in private conversations among pilots who understood what had truly happened that night. A passenger took the yoke at 35,000 feet. A veteran saved a jet when everyone else froze. Her story became part of the unseen folklore of the skies, the kind pilots tell over late-night coffee at terminals. The young co-pilot who had watched her work never forgot her words. Years later, when he trained new recruits, he told them, "If you ever meet a quiet person in row 10, don't underestimate her. She might know how to land the storm." Elise herself returned to a quiet life in Hamburg, but on certain nights, when she'd hear a jet's distant hum, she would look up, remembering the feel of the controls under her hands, and smile. Her final words to a friend years later summed it best. "The sky never leaves you. It just waits for the day you remember who you are."